be a special message we're going to be having, and who is going to be addressing the nation. We're going to be having His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni speak to us, the President of the Republic of Uganda. And there's been quite a lot of tension, the entire city, I should say, and of course other rural areas. I'll be mentioning a few and giving you more highlights as regarding to that. There's been a lot of talk, a lot of information going on as regarding the COVID-19 virus, and right here from Broadcast House, we've been giving you updates regarding the countries that have been affected, different statistics, and countries have been banning flights. All that particular information, we've been giving it to you in every single news hour and in our different current affairs programs. And today, just in a short while, we expect to have His Excellency addressing the nation on quite a number of issues regarding COVID-19 and on the issue of closure of schools, so many social public places, as he'll be giving us all that particular brief. But just for those of you who have just joined us, you could have been missing out such updates that have been coming through as regarding COVID-19. I'll just give you a few highlights there just to get to know what it is all about as we wait for His Excellency to address the nation and clarify a number of issues as regarding closure of schools and other public gatherings, as we shall be getting to know in a short while. Well, coronaviruses are a large family of viruses that cause respiratory infections, and this particular COVID-19 is a disease caused by a new coronavirus strain, and it was first reported, that is in December 2019 in Wuhan city in China. More as regarding to COVID-19, the symptoms do include fever, coughing, sore throat, and a shortness of breath. And they're still to do with the virus. It can spread from person to person, but good hygiene can prevent this particular infection. Now, for the public or for each and every single person out there, it is a battle that you and I have got to look into. Now, some of the information that you're looking at right on your screen, that is the latest coronavirus update, where we get to see that 4 new countries or territories and areas in the African region have just registered 2 cases of coronavirus. That is a 24-hour update. Those are some of the statistics in the different countries that have this infection going on. And Europe has just registered 1, and America did register 1. That is the Americas, a number of territories just joining them together. Now, they did register 1 24-hour update that is regarding the cases of COVID-19 in the past 24 hours. And however, we still have new cases globally, which are totaling up to 167,515 confirmed, and of which 13,903 are new cases. We have a 6,606 deaths and have also been registered, of which 862 are new deaths. That is how the map is giving you all that particular information there. The corona update that we have for you today, it is a 24-hour window as we continue giving you those particular updates. But for you and I to be vigilant, or you and I to take a precaution, it is our responsibility, our personal hygiene. That is, our hygiene personally needs to change. You need to wash your hands often with soap and water. You need to wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. And that is Pakistan, South Africa, all of them have different cases. So lucky to be blessed as a country or nation, Uganda, where we do not have any case so far. Well, I'll definitely take you to that particular update of the 24-hour window shortly as I return.
The total number of cases and deaths outside China has overtaken the total number of cases within China. Effective Tuesday, total cases from China will no longer be featured separately. Countries, areas or territories with cases, including China standing at 81,116 cases, Italy 27,980, Iran standing at 14,991, Spain 9,191, France 5,380, Germany 4,838, Switzerland 2,200, United States of America 1,714, United Kingdom 1,547, Netherlands 1,413, Norway 1,169, Belgium 1,085, Sweden 1,059, Austria 959, Denmark 898, Japan 814, International Conveyance 712, Malaysia 553, Qatar 401, Australia 336, Greece 331, Canada 304, Finland 272, Slovenia 253, Israel 250, Portugal 245, Singapore 243, Bahrain 221, Estonia 205, Brazil 200, Ireland 169, Iceland 161, Romania 158, Poland 150 cases, Thailand 147 cases, Philippines 142.
Well, that is a whole list for those of you who could have been missing out the updates as we've been giving them to you in every news hour. Those are some of the countries that have been affected, that have registered cases of COVID-19, and of course not forgetting the deaths. But good news is that some people are still recovering. Now, as we still wait for His Excellency to come and address the nation, more updates that we still have to give you, saying that cases of COVID-19 are reported in Rwanda, DRC, Kenya, Tanzania, and that this puts Uganda at a very high risk, calling for more alertness. Now, we had Ivan Carr, our very own here, reporting on some communities that could not afford neither soap or sanitizers, mostly in rural areas, and how and which options can be best be used, and what we are yet to see in this particular update.
I want to draw your attention on coronavirus. It is real, and we all have to be concerned.
Government recently embarked on sensitizing the public on possible preventive measures against coronavirus, also known as COVID-19. These include social distancing, thorough wash of hands, and getting rid of body contact. Most measures call for self-discipline, since anybody that does not emulate such advice is vulnerable to contracting the virus. It is highly recommended that spirits with over 70% alcohol content be used to clean hands, and where possible, sanitizers to further reduce chances of contracting the virus. To some communities, access to detergents like soap and sanitizers is realistically not affordable, hence putting some people in danger.
A piece of soap, which is not more than 500 shillings, is affordable by most of the communities, if not all.
However, in some districts where the Ministry of Health is discouraging open defecation, at least every homestead has a hand-washing facility, which is perhaps a model that can help in the fight against COVID-19. Where soap is not affordable, communities use ash to clean their hands. To prevent further potential contraction of the virus, human-animal interaction must be gotten rid of, as COVID-19 is believed to be zoonotic, meaning it is transmitted from animals to humans.
Any close contact with animals will cause an outbreak in humans. It can be eating, it can be touching, it can be any form of close contact with those animals that have them.
Over the years, the outbreak of viruses such as Ebola, Marburg, MERS and SARS have claimed lives of many, but one wonders the circumstances by which these viruses were suppressed.
The transmission was interrupted, and therefore the outbreaks were overcome. I also have belief that this one, we are going to overcome it, and to only remain in those animals where it has been.
On whether curable or not, Dr. Alan Muruta, the Commissioner, Epidemiology at the Ministry of Health, had this to say during UBC TV's daily morning show, Good Morning Uganda.
At this point, I believe, whereas we're looking at the preventive aspect of it, but now if we have positive cases, and if they're in big numbers, is there a ray of hope that actually those who are found to be positive can be treated and they cure?
I don't want to say that there's a cure, because so many stories have come up that you can use garlic, you can use chloroquine, but none of them is proven yet.
Ivan Kahwa, UBC News.
Well, that is yet another update there regarding on other measures that one can use. Everyone says, as the experts say it, we're supposed to maintain our personal hygiene. And you can use soap and water, wash thoroughly for about 20 seconds as it is put. And however, whatever you're using or sanitizer, it's supposed to be efficient and at least going up to 60% and above. And earlier on, for those of you who did watch our lunch bulletin, we had an expert right here giving you more issues. We had Dr. Grace Nambati highlighting the importance of the sanitizer and how efficient it can really be for all of us to own one, at least have a small one that you can pack along with you as you start your day or spend your day. And still later on in our news hours, in the subsequent bulletins, we shall be giving you more of the messages that are coming from the experts on how we're supposed to take good care of ourselves. If you just joined us, my name is Sandra, coming to you live from Broadcast House, Nile Avenue, as we wait on to hear from His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who will be addressing the nation shortly on a number of issues that have been creating tension in our nation and getting to know whether it is really true closure of schools we shall be experiencing, all the religious areas, whether they're going to be out of bounds. That and much more shortly as wait up for him to address us. It could be missing out some of the important updates we are bringing you during our news hours, and that this is what we are doing, highlighting it out for you. Now, one of our reporters had a visit downtown, Philip Aguta, and he managed to speak to a number of traders there. Well, a visit downtown Kampala did expose a negligence and lack of vigilance among Ugandans in the fight against the deadly coronavirus. And many public places had no sanitizers, and almost everybody walked without a protective mask despite the overcrowding. And I'm sure you and I are still witnessing that in various places that you're getting into, and there's no sanitizer or any other way of making sure that you are clean. Well, let's hear it from Philip Aguta.
Luhum Street, downtown Kampala, one of the busiest streets in the capital. Business here is going on normally, with many public places without sanitizers and almost everybody walking without nose masks despite the crowding. Not far away from Luhum Street is the Namaiwa bus terminal, where there are no preventive measures for coronavirus.
This is Uganda's biggest bus terminal. It takes passengers across the country and beyond the borders. But you can see as I walk through, there are no sanitizers, there are no warnings on coronavirus.
Most people at Namaiwa bus terminal seems not to be aware of what to do in order to be safe from coronavirus.
Kakati nze bwentuse sinayo mungalo naye kati ndi bulungi kuba siri kukwata muntu yenna mu ngalo ndikwerabirira zeka wano naye tekirira muzibu nga ndi kunywa kasoda nyini nze nkasibudde.
Me I heard that's about to reach Uganda here very soon, so I don't know what's government planning.
But here we have entered, there are no hand washing facilities. I don't see water, I don't see. So how do you, where are they?
We have water. We have our public water there, on the other side and this side. So about health is very okay.
So should we say whoever enters here has to wash hands by, is it a mandate?
No, it's not mandated.
Over 400 cases so far have been reported in Africa that has been for long spared by the major outbreak of the virus. Although no case has been confirmed in Uganda yet, government officials are calling for public vigilance.
As you may have noticed, the COVID-19 coronavirus continues to spread across the world. Please abide by the guidance laid out by the Minister of Health to make sure that we remain safe.
The Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Judith Nabakova, also calls for self-quarantine in case of any related signs of the virus.
With many African countries having confirmed corona cases, including the neighboring Kenya and Rwanda, it's not a matter of if corona will reach Uganda, but it is a matter of when. For UBC TV News, I am Philip Aguta, downtown Kampala.
Well, thanks for watching and staying. More updates here for you as you continue to watch the national broadcaster, giving you a number of highlights that we've been covering. And shortly, we're going to be having information coming through from some of the experts we've been talking to. If you just joined us, maybe just a recap of what you could have missed out, getting to know that coronaviruses are is a large family of viruses that cause respiratory infections, and this COVID-19 is a disease caused by a new coronavirus strain. It was first reported, that is in December 2019, in Wuhan city, that is in China. Now, COVID-19 symptoms include fever, coughing, sore throat, and a shortness of breath. The virus can be spread from person to person, but a good hygiene can prevent this infection. How can you prevent it? Like it's always said, prevention is better than cure. You and I need to wash our hands often with soap and water for at least 20 seconds, and avoid touching our eyes, our nose, the mouth with unwashed hands, and also stay home if you're not feeling well. Now, when you should cover your cough. You should cover yourself in case you're coughing or sneezing with a tissue, and then throw the tissue in the trash immediately. Now, statistics globally, they say coronavirus has claimed over 7,975 people worldwide, and over 81,886 patients have survived COVID-19 infection. Now, the coronaviruses do range from simple common colds to deadly strains like a severe acute respiratory syndrome and Middle East respiratory syndrome. That is how it all starts. So you need to be alert. As soon as you feel you have a sore throat or dryness, you need to make sure you take the lemons, gargle with hot water, and stay indoors, not to avoid infecting, as a matter of avoiding to infect other people. Now, we'll be giving you more highlights there, getting to see our researchers as they'll be explaining, and not forgetting later on in our subsequent bulletins, we're going to be having more as they'll be explaining to us on how you're supposed to take good care of yourself. Make sure you take the lemons, make sure you take the hot water, and you know, stay indoors. It starts for the 3-4 days. You'll feel the sour throat and the pains coming through as if you're developing a cough. And later on, it gets to your lungs and stays there for about 4 days, 3 to 4 days. That is how it is noticed. You'll tend to see the person getting a severe fever, kind of a malaria. So as soon as you see those symptoms and signs, you definitely have to go and visit a health center for thorough checkup. And also do stay home. Many others who have been feeling unwell have been doing self-quarantine, which is also very good. Well, if you just joined us, you could be wondering what is happening. We're waiting to have His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, addressing us on the issue of COVID-19. Well, those are some of the statistics we've been having for you in the different regions. Blessed as a country we are, we haven't yet registered any COVID-19 case. And we should continue in prayer. But those are some of the statistics we could bring you. The 24-hour window that updates you how it has been crossing over. That is France with those particular numbers. German is also registering quite a number of cases as each day goes by. United States of America, it's over 1,000, as you can see. United Kingdom, very terrible situation. Not forgetting Netherlands. Those are some of the statistics. Information coming through.
a veteran of fighting these epidemics. Today I have come to address you on the issue of the coronavirus, abbreviated as COVID-19. They call it corona, that must be Latin, because under the microscope it looks like a crown. Engure n'Urunyankore, Ikirunga. This is a new virus that belongs to the family of the common cold, the Senyiga, a group of viruses. It makes some people very sick because, being a new virus, all of us do not have immunity against it because we had never been exposed to it. Fortunately, after listening carefully to our scientists and after watching commentators in the countries where it is already active, it seems to have two characteristics that will help us to survive it and defeat it. Characteristic number one is that it does not kill many of the people it infects. Out of the approximately 150,000 people that have been infected worldwide, this was yesterday, but today morning the figure had changed. But I wrote the speech yesterday, so forgive me. Don't say that Museveni is ignorant. Museveni is actually very current. I think this morning I heard that the figure had reached 190,000. But the figure of yesterday was 150,000 people that had been infected worldwide. Only about 5,000 of them had died, which works at 3%. With Ebola in Uganda, the percentage of the people dying was 67%. So it seems it doesn't kill as much as Ebola. Secondly, this virus enters the body only through the soft parts of the body. The nose, the eyes, and the mouth. The nose, the eyes, and the mouth. It cannot go through an intact skin like some of the diseases used to. Yours, like yours, ebinyoro, leprosy. Because in the olden days I used to hear that those diseases could spread by ukujwarana, by sharing clothes. So that means it could enter you through the other parts other than the soft parts, if you can get it from the cloth. Because the Menyankore in the past had all sorts of habits. One of them was sharing clothes. And they used to say, the binyoro, the yours. And even leprosy, I don't know about leprosy, that you could get it through the clothes of somebody. Which means, if that is the case, then that means it was not going through necessarily, though. I don't know. But the experts here can say more about that. But the good thing with this one, this virus, goes through the soft parts, the eyes, the mouth, and the nose, the mucous membranes. This therefore means that even when you get near a person with the virus in his or her body, he or she can only infect you if she sneezes. Now, this sneezing is very difficult for us when we use English, because English is a poor language. Because with Runyankore, Okwetiamra is when you blow out. That's Okwetiamra. Sneezing is actually Okshoreza. Okshoreza when you pull in. So I don't know how they call it even in Uganda. When you pull in, that is Okshoreza, and that's what we translate as sneezing in Runyankore. But when you blow out, that is Okwetiamra. So we are talking about blowing out. When you blow out, Okwetiamra, chew. Or coughing, or cholera. If this person who is infected sneezes out or coughs out near you, so that the tiny and invisible bimira, the mucus, but small ones, mucus from the nose, or spito, some small saliva, enter your nostrils, or those infected materials from the body land on a surface, like a table, a chair, a door handle, a hanky, where the virus can stay alive for 3 hours, and then you touch it, and then you touch your soft parts of the body, the eyes, the mouth, and the nose. That's how it will affect you. Either you are near the one who sneezes out, or who coughs out, or what he coughs lands on a surface where the virus can stay alive for 3 hours, and when you touch there, and you touch yourself on the soft parts, that's how it will go into you. That's why I want you to understand this very, very clearly, so that you fight. It is this characteristic of either being blown out by sneezing out, because English is poor, doesn't distinguish between sneezing out and sneezing in, which the Nyankore does. Because the Nyankore Okwetiamra, you sneeze out. Okshoreza, you sneeze in. That's Okshoreza. When I take in the breath through the nose. But English is sneezing. So sneezing how? In or out? I don't know why you like English, but that's a different topic. So, if you sneeze out, if an infected person sneezes out or coughs, and you are near, and that watery breath gets into your nostrils or your eyes, that's how you will get infected. Or what is sneezed out falls on the surface, like a table where you touch, and then you touch yourself in the soft parts. That's how it will go into you. The cabinet, under my chairmanship, on Monday the 16th of March 2020, sat and decided as follows. Although the kill ratio of the virus is not very high compared to, for instance, Ebola, this is only if the victims are in perfect health. You must understand that, Ugandans. The virus will kill only 3% out of the 100% infected if the 100% are healthy, in perfect health. With the healthy young people, for instance, some information says that an infected person may not even know that he or she has any problem. They say that it can go through a healthy young person without even knowing that, without him or even the people around him knowing that he was attacked. She may defeat the virus without even knowing that it ever attacked him or her. The real danger to society, however, is for the old people, 70 years and above, and people with other diseases that they have been surviving with. Such diseases are like TB, tuberculosis, HIV, diabetes, hypertension, I think even cancer. It is these that will be very sick or even die. Since we have a very large number of people living with HIV, 1.4 million, having diabetes, 800,000, having hypertension, 4.8 million, TB, 100,000 per year. I did not get the figure for cancers. We must do everything possible to ensure that this enemy does not come here, does not find plenty of dry grass piled up and ready for ignition. What is the dry grass that can help to start and sustain fire of a coronavirus epidemic? It is the big masses of people gathered together and in close proximity. What are these masses of people that are gathered in groups that can easily aid the spread of the virus? They are the following. Number one, the students. The National Resistance Movement has promoted education. As a consequence, today, there are 10.7 million children in the primary schools, 2 million children in the pre-primary schools, 2 million students in the secondary schools, 314,000 students in the universities and tertiary institutions. This is a total of almost 15 million young Ugandans distributed in 36,000 primary schools, government and private, 7,000 pre-primary schools, government and private, 5,500 secondary schools, government and private, 49 universities, and 1,543 tertiary institutions, technical schools, teacher training colleges, vocational schools, etc. This is a total of 50,688 points 50,600 something points, with concentrations of 1,000 or more persons each. So these 15 million Ugandans are gathered in 50,000, or let's say 51,000 to make the figure simple, points in the form of schools and colleges and so on. When I visited Masaka SS in Masaka town, it had 4,000 pupils without counting the other non-student people staying in that compound. It is wise that we temporarily remove these concentration points by closing all the primary and secondary schools, pre-primary, as well as all the universities and tertiary institutions for 1 month, starting with Friday, the 20th of March, 2020, starting at midday. This is what the government has decided, that these 51,000 points approximately should close, all of them temporarily, starting at midday on Friday, 20th March. All these institutions, without exception, should close so that we deny this virus those concentrations. The 42 million Ugandans are divided into about 8 million homesteads. Once the education institutions population goes home, they will disperse into these 8 million homesteads that have much less concentrations. If the 15 million were to disperse equally into the 8 million homesteads, each homestead would take 1.5 students. So the 15 million, you will not see them once they go home. Because the homesteads are 8 million, about. So I was just simplifying the calculation. If each home was to take an equal number, each home would take only 1.5 students. Since we cannot have a half student, let us correct to the nearest whole number, and we end up with 2 students per each homestead. So you can see the strategy. These concentration groups, you go home, and when they go home, the concentrations disappear. And if all the homesteads were to receive equal numbers, each one would get two additional people. It is a smart way of avoiding these concentrations in the face of this danger. I've decided to close the education institutions even before the occurrence of a single corona incident, because I have observed the situation in other countries. Once the epidemic breaks out, there is so much stampede that the first suspect to be affected is the transport. The first aspect to be affected is transport. You have seen how airports were clogged with people in the United States. That crowding is perfect ground for new infections. In trying to run away, I think people would get more infections than even when people were still in one place. Let us therefore move early to avoid the stampede. Number 2, once we deal with the concentrations in the education institutions, the next concentration that we must deal with are the religious gatherings. Prayers in churches, in mosques, open-air prayers, and services on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. In the interest of our people's health, this should be suspended for a month with immediate effect. Why with immediate effect? Why with immediate effect? The answer is a question of logic. What if a person that is not yet infected today with the virus is infected tomorrow, Thursday, the 19th of March 2020, was to be infected in the last service that had been called to pray for the last time? Because there were, some people said, let's pray for the last time. But the question was, what if somebody gets infected in that prayer for the last time? How will you forgive yourself? And how will God forgive you? Because we don't know who is carrying the virus. When people gather, you don't know what will happen. How would God forgive us, and how would we forgive ourselves if we made that mistake by saying, let's have one more gathering, and in that gathering, then somebody who was all right gets infected? When it comes to health, it is better to be a coward and be on the side of caution. If there is no danger after 1 month, that will be good. There's no problem. If we run away from nothing, there was no danger, that's no problem. If there was danger, we would have then avoided it. So really, logically, the faster we run, the better. The prayers will continue, but in homes. When I was reading the Catechism at Chamate, 1957, one of the things I learned was that God, and I tried to get it translated in English, and they told me that the Wanyankore were trying to translate the fact that God is omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient. Since God is in all places, we can pray at home. Yes, we have been praying together, it has got its advantages, but if it has got a danger, then surely, logically, we cannot insist. The religious leaders can use the television, radio stations, the television stations, the radio stations to continue preaching. His Holiness Pope Francis, as usual, set a good example of enlightenment on this very matter by abandoning his customary preaching in St. Peter's Square and instead using the television. I saw the Pope. He's the one who took the initiative. Please don't come. I don't want anybody to be sick and you say I'm the one who called you. His Holiness, I think, is preparing his way to heaven very carefully. What if somebody gets infected and you are the one who called him? You can't protect him. You have called him, he has come, he was healthy, he goes back infected. And you are the one who called him, and you are a pope, you are a bishop, you are a political leader. You know this danger around, and you have no capacity to protect the people you call, but you still call them. You don't care what happens to them. I don't think God can forgive you. I think His Holiness, a very courageous man. Then the next category of mass meetings are the political or cultural public meetings, public rallies, conferences, elections, etc. All these are hereby forbidden for 32 days with immediate effect. This is category 3, public gatherings for politics and for culture. Number 4, up to today, the 18th of March 2020, Uganda, by the mercy of God, has been spared by not having even one case confirmed of the coronavirus. There has been many false alarms that our laboratories have proved false. However, there are countries in the world that have had many cases. We describe these cases as category 1 countries in terms of the epidemic. These countries are Italy, France, South Korea, China, the United States of America, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Switzerland, Sweden, Belgium, Germany, Spain, Norway, Austria, Malaysia, Pakistan, and San Marino. I don't know what San Marino is, I have never heard of it. With immediate effect, we ban all outbound movement by Ugandans to or through these countries, again for 32 days. We ban any outbound Ugandan going to or through these countries. Foreigners going to those countries are free to do so, provided they do not intend to come back within the prohibited time. We extend our sympathies to those countries and commend them for fighting on behalf of the human race. Number 5, we cannot stop Ugandans coming back from abroad, even from the category 1 countries that I read above. However, such Ugandans will be put in a mandatory quarantine in a designated place, but they will pay the cost for their institutional quarantine. This cost is for food, for things like that, for their food. If they want to avoid that inconvenience or cost, they can sit out the storm in the country of their temporary abode and stay there until the problem is over. Actually, the number of students outside the children whom I know, whom we have had to tell to stay there. Because some wanted to come back, we said, no, you stay in one place. Because traveling now is very dangerous. Six, the next points of mass concentrations are the non-agricultural workplaces, such as factories, hotels, large plantations, markets, tax parks, etc. These should continue functioning, but with standard operating procedures, what we call SOPs, put out by the Minister of Health. These can continue operating, but with the Everagiro, with the do's and don'ts put out by the Minister of Health. These do's and don'ts will include compulsory hand washing by all persons who enter or exit those workplaces. Anybody with symptoms of sickness should not be allowed access to that place for any reason. The employers should install temperature monitors, etc., etc. They will give the details of those SOPs. The ministry will publish the detailed SOPs, the detailed do's and don'ts as part of the statutory instrument to be signed by the Minister of Health with immediate effect. Number 7. Then the issue of Uganda-style weddings that bring together a pentagon of groups. Pentagon. Pentagon is a five-sided polygon. That's what I call it, pentagon, 5 sides. What are the five sides? The clan members of the bridegroom, those come, Shwera. The clan members of the bride, Shwerwa, or Omugore. Now, that's where English becomes a problem. Because in Nyankore, the Mugore was the woman. You could not have a man as a Mugore, but that's Nyankore. The other language can. So the clansmen of the boy come, the clansmen of the girl come, then the maternal clans of the two sides, because you cannot bring the father's clan without bringing the mother's clan of the couple come. In Uganda they call this obukoja. Obukoja. In Nyankore they call it obuihwa. So the kojas of the two must come. The kojas of the woman, the kojas of the girl, the kojas of the boy. The school alumni, the ones who studied with these young people, and the neighbors and friends. So all this must come. That's why I call it a pentagon, 5 sides. Maybe when it is 6 sides, what do you call it? Hexagon? What? Hexagon is how many? 6. So we shall have to describe the Ugandan style weddings, whether they are hexagonal or pentagonal. These tend to be big gatherings of people coming from the 6 points of the campus. North, south, east, west, northeast, northwest, they all come. This multidirectional source of the Mbaga attenders, Mbaga, the feast, of the feast attenders can be a source of great danger. It is therefore decided that the weddings of this type should be postponed for 32 days from today. If, however, the couples intending to marry are really in a hurry, they could go for a purely scientific wedding, only involving the core stakeholders who are the bridegroom, the bride, the best man, the assistant to the bride, the matron, and the priest or the chief administrative officer. These are less than, as long as the number is less than 10 people. The scientific marriage could then later, at an appropriate time, be followed by the Uganda-style one, when things are clear. Mama Janet and myself used the scientific one in 1973, and we have not regretted. The coronavirus, in quotes, that time was the Amin regime. That was the coronavirus, which could not allow the Uganda-style wedding. Much later, with adult children and grandchildren, Janet and myself were able to celebrate the 40th anniversary of our marriage, the Ugandan style, with the whole Raktura compound full of people, with our grandchildren and the bride as the bridesmaids now this time. So we were able to catch up with the Ugandans. The impatient intending couples could look at this model, the scientific model. 8, the other occasion that gathers a lot of people is a funeral. Again, relatives, friends, associates, neighbors, etc., turn up in big numbers. Again, with this virus, this is a danger point. Many people could be infected there. We cannot ban or postpone burials for 32 days. It would not be rational. We therefore recommend that the burial is done by the relatives who are nearby. They should be the ones to kuzika, to bury. Then the morning, the kungubaga, the echosi, as they call it in Yankore, could be later when the rituals could be done. This may combine both science and culture. Most importantly, it would be safe for the participants. If the deceased, however, is suspected of dying from the coronavirus, the state will take over and bury the person in the scientific way without the involvement of the family, as we did for the Ebola victims. We should not replicate the lack of enlightenment that was exhibited in West Africa, where the rituals of washing dead bodies was maintained even when people were dying from Ebola. The consequence was that both the bathers of the dead bodies ended up dying themselves in service of a non-scientific cultural practice. By confronting this disease with enlightened, scientific-based actions, we shall defeat it as we did with Ebola 3 times, with Marburg, and with AIDS. The other big category of Ugandans are the farmers, the crop people, the balimi, the cattle keepers, and the fishermen. These account for about 10 million families, according to the 2014 census, with a population of 33 million people. So these are the majority of Ugandans. because they live in scattered homesteads and do not allow much concentration of persons. If they are not pulled by the churches and the mosques or by the politicians for political rallies, they will go about their most useful activities in their dispersed form that is not a danger to themselves or to others. So this majority of the people are not a problem. The farmers, the cattle keepers, 10 people in a home, 15 people in a home, 20, the cultivators, these are not a problem. They can only be, the problem can only come from the other groups which tend to concentrate. So that's why really the groups which concentrate should not cause us a problem when the majority of the people are actually stable. However, they should all observe the hygienic practices recommended on these and subsequent communications. The Technical Committee on Health should, however, study more the issue of the fishermen. Although they fish separately, they live in concentrated landing sites. Landing sites, Emiaro. What do we do there? The Technical Committee may have to study that particular issue. The Technical Committee will evolve the appropriate SOPs for the landing sites of the fishermen. With the other category of farmers, the cattle keepers and the cultivators, the other danger area are the monthly markets. This should also be suspended for the 32 days. Buying of crops and livestock, cattle, goats, chicken, etc. can go on, but from the homesteads. They do not have to congregate in the markets, at least for 1 month, just for 1 month. I am used to this quarantine because when we have Karusu, the foot and mouth, they stop us. Like we have been under quarantine now, I don't know, for almost a year. But we accept it's better than to be inconvenienced than our cattle dying. This time it's just the cattle. But here we are talking about human beings. Number 10, the next front line with this virus is public transport. The borders, the taxis, the buses, the minibuses, and the trains. Everybody can see the clear danger here is of many people sitting next to one another in confined space of vehicle from Rira to Kampala, for instance. Therefore, the advice here, this is now an advice. Do not travel unless it is absolutely necessary if you are using public transport. If you don't have your own car, don't travel. Stay in your place unless you can't avoid it. Additionally, the companies that operate these means of transport should be given mandatory SOPs, standard operational procedures, by the Ministry of Health. Hand washing, not allowing sick people on board, temperature monitors, etc. With these precautions, public transport will continue. However, in the event of an outbreak in a given locality, public transport in that area would be forbidden and the area will be isolated. The next front line of fighting the virus is to stop the merry-making, the discos, the dances, the bars, the sports, the music shows, cinemas, and the concerts. These are very dangerous gathering points with the virus around. Drunkards sit close to one another. They speak with saliva coming out of their mouth. They are a danger to themselves. All these are suspended for a month, for 32 days. Number 12. With these measures taken to deny the virus mass concentration of Ugandans, the next area to look at is hygiene. The virus, according to the facts known so far, spreads by okwesiamura, the other sneezing out, and okorora, coughing out, whereby through your micro mucus, ebimera, or your spittle, otwante, you pollute the air around you, and the virus can now enter the nose of the nearby people through breathing. That is why it is important that anybody with a cough or cold should not go into public. You should self-isolate yourself or be isolated by force if you are not responsible enough to govern yourself for the general good. Even at home, always cough or sneeze into a handkerchief, which you should frequently wash, dry, and iron with a hot flat iron, or use a disposable tissue, which you should then either flush in the toilet or incinerate in a sigiri. My high-class people, when we were in one of the meetings, they were saying, no, we should not use handkerchief. We should use a disposable tissue. But people in Victoria have no disposable tissue. People in Victoria have no disposable tissue, so I cannot. Let them use the handkerchief, but wash it regularly and iron. And iron it. Because when you iron, definitely you kill the virus. Yeah. Me, I always keep three handkerchiefs. I use one, I put it away. I don't reuse. So if I was in Victoria without tissue, I'm sure I could manage. Do not spray the public or your family with your mucus or spittle through primitively sneezing out or coughing without precautions or blocking your output in the manner suggested. Once the individuals control coughing and sneezing, then the next danger point is touching surfaces with infected hands. Tables, door handles, telephone handsets, etc. Here the answer is to cough and sneeze into the tissue, which you destroy so that your hands are not contaminated. In any case, you regularly wash these hands. Therefore, your hands do not pollute the surfaces. With money in markets and banks, the Minister of Health will publish SOPs governing that aspect, including disinfecting the coins, using mobile money, using online purchases, etc. Once you avoid open coughing and sneezing, and you wash your hands regularly, then you will not contaminate the surfaces, the tables, the door handles, etc. That will protect the public. The virus, even if you have it, it will remain with you until you get healed. It is good that for some time now, we have stopped the practice of shaking hands and hugging. That one is very good. There is also the side of everybody protecting oneself. As you heard, the virus only enters the body through the soft parts of the body, the mouth, the nose, and the eyes. Even if the surfaces are contaminated with the virus, and you touch those surfaces, yes, the virus will be on your hand. However, it will not enter your body unless you touch yourself in the soft parts of your body before washing. Correct, you people? These soft parts are the eyes, the mouth, and the nose. If you wash with soap, before you touch those soft parts, the virus will have died or will been washed away. Number 13. Then there is the issue of nutrition, so as to eat foods that strengthen our body soldiers, the immune system, to fight the enemy. Apart from ensuring a balanced diet, which the district medical officers, through fortnightly addresses to all of you, should inform you about, in the particular fight against this virus, there is the need to take in good quantities of vitamin C through eating oranges and lemon, and also eating ripe bananas to get folic acid and vitamin B6. The folic acid and the vitamin B6 help the nervous system of the body. I will ask these people to explain that later in more detail. Ascorbic acid from the oranges helps your body to produce blood cells and build immunity. They will also explain that to you people. Therefore, apart from decongesting the population concentrations, so as to deny the virus big bodies of our citizens to easily infect and spread the disease, the other important measure is the one who is having a cold not to spray the innocent with sneezing out or coughing into open air. Block your sneezing with the tissue if you are the rich type that can afford tissues, or into handkerchiefs that you frequently wash, dry, and iron. Wash your hands with soap so that you remove the virus on your hands, so that you do not contaminate the surfaces. Then, on the defensive side, make it a habit never to casually touch your mouth, your nose, or your eyes with unwashed hands in case you touched contaminated surfaces. Ever since 1959, at Mbara High School, when I attended my confirmation course, Octavo Mkono, the Reverend Eustace Ruhindi advised us to use our left hand to receive the bread for the Holy Communion, because the right hand would have been contaminated with the greeting of people. It is now 61 years since. In all that time, my right hand is for greeting, opening doors, handling pens, etc. The left hand is reserved for myself, blowing my nose, etc. This was long before these diseases, Ebola, Corona, etc. It was a wise advice. The Ugandans could look at it. I never allow my right hand to touch my left hand before washing. That is why I never clap hands. They have not seen me clapping hands, never, in public. I normally bang the table because I'm using the other hand which I donated to the public. I normally bang the tables with the same right hand that I donated to the public long ago. I never want my right hand to contaminate my left hand, which is strictly for myself. Otherwise, Uganda is prepared. We have isolation centers. We have long had the testing capacity within the country ever since the first Ebola days. We have some factories providing hand sanitizers, and we are going to have more. Some factories will start producing face masks of the different types. There is even some talk of treatment using the old chloroquine. However, prevention is better than cure. On the side of the economy, there is no doubt that some sectors like tourism, hotels, sports, entertainment, etc., will be hit by the phenomenon of this disease. However, others, like the manufacturing sector, will get a boost. The countries of the world, by their selfish actions, are again waking up Africa that it is suicidal to depend on others. I have warned our people to stop talking like the selfish foreigners by trying to stop the ritual we have being exported to other African countries. We can keep a bit for ourselves, but we shall share with the others whatever we have. The blocking of imports should therefore get the long-sleeping Ugandans to wake up and use the huge amount of money they long earned by turning our market into a dumping point for foreign goods to build our own manufacturing capacity. Through the Bubu, Buy Uganda, Build Uganda, we shall help those groups. Everything you have been importing, except for petroleum products for now make here. The US $7 billion you have been using to import, keep it here. Turn misfortune into an opportunity. On Saturday, 21st March, which will be the 41st anniversary of the defeat of Idi Amin's forces at Rugando by the Tanzanian People's Defense Force of 80 kg kikosi cha jeshi, 80 battalion and task force battalion, and for NASA forces. I have invited the top leaders of the faith for national prayers at Entebbe State House. I will invite only a few, the heads. I don't want a crowd. I will invite a few, they come and we pray for the whole country. The few of us will pray for the whole country together. All of you pray in your homes. God will hear us. In order to synchronize the dates with the closure of the schools on Friday, the actions of suspending the other activities that are starting immediately will run for 32 days, not 30 days. I thank you, and I wish you good luck. Say something about the nutrition.
Thank you very much, Excellency. To add on to the issue of nutrition, first of all, I want to start from the point that it's very important to ensure that everybody drinks adequate fluids during this time, because the infection with the virus itself causes dehydration. So we want to encourage people to get into the habit of drinking water, at least 3 liters per day, whenever possible. And then we want to encourage a lot of eating of fruits, where we can obtain the vitamin C, as His Excellency has indicated, the oranges, the lemon, the bananas for vitamin B6 and folic acid, but also a lot of vegetables, because we get antioxidants, that help us to fight diseases from these vegetables. On top of that, we want to encourage people to be frequent with their meals, because when the virus comes, it must get us healthy so that we are able to fight the virus, but also ensure that we maintain hygiene of whatever we are eating, not only ensuring that they are washed, but our hands are also clean before we eat these vegetables and fruits. Thank you.
Thank you very much. What I would like to add is a new recommendation for managing cough and sneezing in public places. Sometimes we just turn aside and put our hands, or sometimes you don't have a hanky or you don't have a tissue. The World Health Organization now recommends sneezing into your elbow, because at least all of us, we have our elbow. So this is a practice we would like people to adopt. So if I'm coughing, I do this. And if you have a shirt, long sleeved, especially the men, then it will not go anywhere. It's something that is being promoted at very high level. So it's something we can adapt, because usually the hankies, we have been everywhere. Then you're touching them and then putting on your nose. But if you can sneeze in your elbow, then that will prevent pollution. I think we thank you, Your Excellency. We are just requesting the cooperation of the public to trust the technical team. We will defeat the virus.
This thing you're not touching your eyes and so on, even if I touch, even if I pick on my hands, but as long as I don't touch myself.
Yes.
In the soft parts.
Yes, hand management, we call it. People touch their faces without even thinking about it, but we would like to call upon Ugandans to be conscious with managing their hands, to make sure that your hand is not on your face. Because even if the hands are dirty...
Even if my hands were contaminated?
Yes.
As long as I didn't touch the soft
As long as you don't touch these 5 holes.
I could avoid.
Yes.
Confirm that.
Yes. The virus does not move in the air. So you can have the virus on your hands, but if you do not touch
and it does not go
your
through,
eyes, it will not go through the skin. It does not penetrate the skin. It just enters through these 5 holes on our face. That's the major, the 2 eyes, the nostrils, and the mouth. Those are the major ways that it's entering.
So it's actually easy to stop. Yes. You know me, I always study the enemy. I've listened that's how I fought AIDS, because I listened carefully, and then I was able to advise. This thing is really just indiscipline and carelessness.
Yes.
This thing can be stopped if we are serious.
Yes, the major frontiers of distancing, social distancing, avoiding crowding where people sneeze on you. That's one of the major interventions. Managing your hands, making sure that your hands, you don't touch your face with contaminated hands. So you wash your hands, even if you don't have disinfectants, but if you have soap and water, it's enough. So long as you wash well.
You were telling me about soap and water, that they actually can kill the virus.
Yes.
Explain more about the science of it.
Yes, soap can kill most of the virus, because
why? You tell us the science.
The virus has a layer, a coat, which it puts on. It has its material, the genetic material inside, then it is surrounded by a coat which has proteins and fats. And we all know that when you wash fats with soap, it goes away. So it puts holes into that coat, and that causes the virus to die. So most of the virus will be killed if you use it. It doesn't have to be medicated soap, just ordinary soap. But it also removes most of the things, even if the mucus were attached. So even that which has not been killed, it will be washed off. So soap and water. Your Excellency, there is a rumor which has been out there that because we are recommending alcohol for cleaning, people should go and drink alcohol. That you don't have enough, you can't drink enough alcohol to kill the virus in you. The alcohol for sanitation is used outside. Because by the time you have that amount of alcohol in your body, the alcohol will kill you before it kills the virus. So the alcohol and sanitizers are for spraying on hands and surfaces, not for drinking or thinking that it will kill the virus in your body.
So what these experts who have information but keep it to themselves, you wonder why they do that. They are now saying that ordinary soap can actually kill these viruses. Then I challenged them and said, why? They said, but when you wash with soap, it removes equi. I don't know how they call it. Equi.
That.
No, equi is a mixture of body exudations. What the body sweats out, the things which come out of your body. It's called equi. I don't know how they would say it in English. How would you say it in English? Equi.
Eco. Come.
What? Scum. So it removes equi, which is a mixture of sweat. But sweat is what? What is sweat?
Sweat is water from the body.
No, but it comes with other.
Yeah, it has
salts,
minerals. Yes.
And what else?
Oil from the skin.
Oils.
Yes, the sebum.
Oil. And now the oils are fat. Yes. Now, so these scientists are saying, when you wash away those things, including the oil, which is body fat. Yes. Now, in the same way, so your hands become clean. Become clean because the soap takes away that layer of filth which has come from your body. Yes. So, in the same way, because this virus has got some fat portions in it. So when you wash with soap, the soap takes away those portions and creates holes, punctures in the skin of the virus. And that's how the virus can disintegrate. So this virus, if we are really serious, is not that very, very strong. It just uses the carelessness of the human being. And the fact that it's really carelessness. Because if we are strict, we can defeat it. Anything else, you people?
Mine is just to say thank you. Your Excellency, mine is to say thank you so much for putting the Ugandan life, giving it first priority. Of course, without life, we cannot think of other things like development. Mine is to say thank you, Your Excellency, and to inform you that we shall do as you have decreed.
Excellency, again I want to explain the concept of quarantine because it seems to bother many of our nationals who are returning They're wondering why we are putting them in institutional quarantine. They want to be let to go. I want to reassure all of you that this is for your own safety. We quarantine you for 14 days in our identified places, as His Excellency has clearly highlighted, not because we want to keep you away from your families, but because we want to ensure that your families are protected, and once you develop symptoms, we can quickly evacuate you to ensure that no other person has contact with you and you do not spread the infection anywhere else. In many of the countries, the cases are imported, but the imported cases end up spreading, and the countries have local transmission, and then eventually they end up with community transmission, which is very difficult to manage. So my appeal is that we adhere to the rules of quarantine, and we are no longer carrying out self-quarantine. It is mandatory quarantine in institutions, as His Excellency has said. Yesterday, a number of Ugandans were refusing this. It is clear that you have to adhere, and it is not a choice. It is mandatory. Thank you very much.
Now, the Minister is going to sign a statutory instrument under the Public Health Act. So many of the things we are talking here are really a must. It's not optional. It's not up to you to do this or that. It should have to be done. Atwine wants to say something about the hotels. Come and say something about the hotels.
In addition to other workplaces, we also want to remind the hotel owners and the restaurant, because we know that eating will continue, people will continue accessing these services. We request that every hotel owner, every restaurant owner must put in place mechanism to wash hands, to make sure that they dispose of any tissue that will be in the restaurant properly, to make sure that they screen, especially in big hotels. It's not only security, but also to measure the temperature of the people, and also observe those avoid crowds, having big gatherings and functions. Make sure that they minimize those meetings in hotels. We just want to emphasize hygiene, hand washing, alcohol sanitizer, and ensure that they enforce everyone who enters their facility to wash their hands and dispose of the tissues that will be left on the table. And we also, because we are going to have institutional quarantine, we'll need hotels, we'll need guest houses that the owners are willing to provide to keep our people who will be coming in the country, because right now it is a challenge. We have many people at the airport and we do not have where to put them. Therefore, we welcome the hotel owners to provide where we can put them.
The hotels are one of the workplaces, because I mentioned it in my speech. It is the factory, the hotel, the market, and I think I mentioned the bus park also, the shopping malls. I didn't mention the shopping malls, but those are workplaces. Those are workplaces which are not agricultural.
Yes.
Because I was talking about the structure of our country, where the population is distributed. So the workplaces, we don't want to close them, but we want to have those SOPs, those those do's and don'ts. At least maybe not yet, but in other places they close them. In China they close them, I think, even in Italy. But here we have not yet come to that. That's why we kept the workplaces open, but have the do's and the don'ts.
She wants volunteers for isolation purposes. That's hotels as isolation.
Yes, we request the hotel owners, those who can allow our people we are isolating to be accommodated, because some of them had reservations and they were not willing because they feared that if they are allowing people and they get coronavirus, then their hotels will be abandoned, and they were asking whether it was possible to compensate them, which is not possible. But also we would also request the security to beef us at the port of entry. As Uganda has porous borders, we request the security gives us support to make sure that we enforce people to pass in designated places for better screening, but also where they cannot abide, then we have law enforcers come in, but also to give us the workforce to help us also, especially the borders where now we are seeing a lot of crowding.
Okay. Anything else, you people? Yes.
And I think they also need to design SOPs for prisons as concentration.
And the members of parliament.
Oh, the prisons. I forgot the prisons. Okay. Anything you want to say?
I just wanted to highlight Thank you so much, Your Excellency. I just wanted to highlight the importance of prevention. Right now, there's no known cure for coronavirus. There are a number of drugs which are being investigated, including chloroquine is one of them, and there are also antiviral agents, but we do not have the completed studies to show that this is the drug that works or this is the cure that works, and therefore the most important thing is to prevent getting the disease at this point, and hand washing is probably the #1 most important intervention. And there's also some panic that we've run out of sanitizer, but as my colleagues have highlighted, washing with soap is as effective, and it will remove the virus and it will kill the virus. So you wash your hands as often as you can with soap and water. You will do your part in fighting this pandemic. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, people.